Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to today's webinar about phrasal verbs for keeping fit. My name is Charles, and I get the privilege of being your host for today. I hope you are all doing well, that you have had a great start of your week. And as we close out the month of April and we begin May in just a few days, I hope you are all doing well. So like I said, my name is Charles. I'm one of the Tutlo tutors here on the platform. And I am also part of our webinar team, which is, of course, why you see me here today. So I hope you are all doing well. Wherever you are joining us from today, I hope life has been treating you well. For those of you who are here with us live, I would like to kindly ask just how our connection is today. So for those of you who are attending here live, please do let me know by typing in the chat how our connection is. You can say hi, you can say hello, yes, I can hear you, or maybe even let me know what is your favorite kind of way to stay healthy and stay fit, since of course today's topic is about keeping fit. But so far, for those of you who are here with us live, it seems that our connection is doing all right. Hello, Greg. Hello, Agnieszka. Hello, Message. Hello, Katarzyna. Hello, Angelica. Hope you are all doing well. So those of you who are just joining us, I see a couple more names pop in. Please do let me know how our connection is. And as we wait for other people, maybe even let me know, where are you joining us from now? So where are you located? I know we have a long weekend coming up, so maybe you've already started on your long weekend holiday trip, or you're still at home. For those of you who are unfamiliar with me, and this is our first time meeting, I currently live here in the Philippines. So I am on the other side of the world from most of you on our little island nation here in the southeastern part of of Asia, I can say. And I see we have people joining us from all over Poland, so that's amazing to see. So for those of you who are joining us from Poland today, you are located here, and we are pretty much on the other side of the world from each other, as we are quite far from one another. So maybe let me know, what is something that your country is famous for? So if you live in Poland or in any other country, maybe type in the chat, what is something that your country is famous for? For us here in the Philippines, we are very famous for our beaches and our local food. As we are a tropical country and an island nation, we are very well known as a travel destination. For those of you who like the hot weather and the beaches, maybe put the Philippines on your travel bucket list, as it definitely is a place that you would enjoy if you enjoy the hot weather, beaches, and some good food. And whether you're located near Poznan, in Warsaw, in Krakow, whatever part of Poland you are in, maybe let me know, what is your city even famous for in your country? And before we get into anything else, I would just like to take the next couple minutes to just quickly explain what exactly we are doing today, so that you know what to expect. Obviously, with today's topic title, we are going to be talking about phrasal verbs. So we want to talk about how to understand what a phrasal verb is. For those of you who are already familiar with it, that's great, that's good to hear. But there are a lot of us as well who are not so familiar with phrasal verbs. And as we get higher and higher in our English skill level, it can get more and more complicated and maybe even more difficult to understand. So we're going to break it down by just talking about how to exactly understand what a phrasal verb is, how to recognize the phrasal verbs connected to staying fit. So for today's main focus, right, we're going to be talking about our health, exercising, dieting, all those kinds of things. And yes, there are some phrasal verbs specifically for this kind of topic. But one thing we always want to make sure of, and if you've heard me speak in the past, I am a huge fan of what we call context. So I'm a huge fan of making sure we learn how to use things and when to use things. So I want to make sure we know those small differences that can change a lot. As we're going to go over our phrasal verbs, you're going to recognize that a small change can change a lot of things, right? Because when we are on that discussion of what a phrasal verb is, right, they are phrases. If you're familiar with phrases, they're a group of words. And small changes in those phrases can definitely change a lot of things. So we want to make sure we are able to go over that today. All right, so I hope that kind of just quickly explains what to expect. Our last two reminders for all of you here. The first thing I would like to remind you of is just how long we will be here. If this is your first time joining us for a webinar, our webinars are typically around 30 minutes long. So we began today at around 7:30 p.m. So that means we will do our best to finish at around 8 p.m. within the next 20 to 25 minutes to, of course, be respectful of your time today. And I also encourage you to use our chat, as our chat is open for all of you. You can make comments about what we're learning, participate in some activities, ask some questions, and even just go ahead and maybe even let me know how our connection is. If there are any connection problems, don't hesitate to let me know. Let's go ahead. Let's hop into today's topic, talking about phrasal verbs and keeping fit. But let's have some fun facts first, talking about fitness and exercise. If you haven't heard it before, music can actually improve our workout performance by around 15%. So yes, a little study was done for people who work out using music and people who work out without using music. And a study showed that around those who used music during their workouts experienced around a 15% increase in their workout performance. So if you like to work out and you're looking for a little extra way to improve your performance, music can help by around 15%. Another thing is that regular exercise improves your immune system, which leads to less sickness. So your immune system is the part of the body that is responsible of making sure that we stay healthy, that we have the right things in our body to keep us from getting sick. And regular exercise strengthens our immune system, which means we get sick less and less often. So it is a good idea to work out. But it also talks about exercise can improve not just our immune system, but it can improve our brain health by creating new brain cells. When we exercise, our heart beats very fast, and through that process, it creates new brain cells. So it keeps us healthier and healthier. And along with that, when we are exercising at least 3 times a week, it helps with the aging process. Whatever stage you are in life, we get older and older, right? Whether you're in your teenage years, your 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever it is. The older we get, our body is not able to perform as it once did when we were younger. And when we exercise around 3 times a week, it helps with the aging process, keeps our skin healthier, keeps our muscles and joints healthier. So keeping fit is actually a great way to just take care of ourselves overall. So those are just a few fun facts related to exercise, keeping fit, and staying healthy. Let's hop into our topic specifically about phrasal verbs. If you're unfamiliar with a phrasal verb, it is simply a phrase or a group of words that is made of a verb and another word. So that's 2 things to understand. Whenever we have a phrasal verb, it is simply known as a phrase. and the phrase is a group of words, maybe 2 or 3 words put together. Most of the time, in a phrasal verb, you'll probably have 2 words, the occasional 3 words. But they are always made of a verb and another word. It could be a preposition or just another word. But one thing that does get a little tricky in understanding phrasal verbs is trying to understand their meanings or the definitions of these words. Why is that? Well, just because we are on that topic of what a phrase is, remember, a phrase is a group of words. So we have maybe 2 or 3 words together. But as we learn a language, any language, one word has one meaning. But the tricky part about phrases is it's 2, maybe 3 words, and it still has one meaning. So instead of 1 to 1, it can be 2 to 1, 3 to 1, and the definition does not make a lot of sense because they are very similar to what we call idioms. For example, an idiom that is very popular is the idiom to roll up your sleeves. And if we roll up our sleeves, it just simply means to work very hard. If you're familiar with idioms, maybe let me know in the chat what is an example of an idiom. But let's look at it, right? The idea of rolling up your sleeves, you roll it, and your sleeve is, for example, if you have a t-shirt on, goes up and you roll it up. It means to work hard. It doesn't mean that. So to understand, like what Jack's saying in the chat, an idiom does not equal a phrasal verb. They are very similar. How are they similar? Is that their definitions don't have a logical meaning. You can't decipher it logically. Like, for example, a lot of the times idioms and phrasal verbs are not logical. There's another idiom of raining cats and dogs. It doesn't mean cats and dogs are falling from the sky. It just means it's raining hard. And that's why we can think of phrasal verbs being kind of tricky. Because if we look at 2 examples of popular phrasal verbs, let's think of bear with. If we bear with something, it simply means we are being patient, right? But if we look at the term bear and we look at with, they don't go bear plus with equals be patient because those 2 words mean different things. But we put them together and then it means to be patient. So that's how we're talking about how idioms and phrasal verbs are similar, because the words put together in the phrasal verb don't always equal the definition. Or like, for example, if I say go ahead, it's a bit more logical. Go, it just means to move, right? You don't stop, you move if you go, and ahead is forward. So there are some phrasal verbs that can be more logical, right? Like go ahead means to move forward, but to bear with means to be patient. So a lot of the times, what makes phrasal verbs so difficult to learn is that we can't guess them. Because sometimes we can, but often we cannot. So what we have to do is learn the definitions to be able to master what these phrasal verbs are. So we're going to go over our list in just a minute or so. I encourage you, if you have a notebook, a way to write down some of these notes, it goes a long way, so you'll be able to practice it on your own or with your tutor later on. So let's go ahead. Let's get started. Our first phrasal verb for today is a phrasal verb to warm up. If we are warming up, it just means preparation for physical exercise. So before we go into our running, lifting weights, doing yoga, whatever our form of exercise is, when we are preparing for it, we are warming up. And if you look at the word warm, all right, it means not hot, but it's a bit warm. It's not cold. And up means that way. But warm plus up, it equals preparation for physical exercise, right? So if we add the 2 together, it means preparation for physical exercise. Like in a sentence, you can say, make sure to warm up so you don't get hurt. That goes a very long way. Now, our next one is the opposite of warm up, and that is to cool down. And the cool down is simply a period of slower exercise to let your body go back to normal. So you warm up, you have your exercise, and then you cool down. You slow down, let your body cool down a little bit. Like, for example, we can say, let us cool down. Let us go to the period of slow exercise after our workout to be able to get back to normal. And it's the same thing. If you look at cool and you add that word to down, it means the opposite of warm up, right? Because opposite of warm is cool, and the opposite of up is down, right? But cool plus down does not mean it's cold and down. It is a period of slow exercise. So I hope that pattern is at least being shown now a bit more. How when we see a phrasal verb, a lot of the times it's not logical. We just have to learn the definition. Because even if we look at phrasal verbs like cool down, just like other vocabulary terms, they can have similar definitions. Like, for example, cool down is a slow period of exercise after your workout, but it can also mean to become calm and less angry. So if someone is angry, maybe they're yelling, whatever it is, and you say, please cool down, it does not mean please stop your exercise and go do a slow period of exercise. It means please become calm and less angry, right? That's why learning these definitions goes such a long way. Because if somebody says, please cool down, it doesn't necessarily mean, okay, I'm going to do my exercise. It just means to become calmer and a little bit less angry. That goes a long way. Now, of course, when we're talking about keeping fit, most of us think about having to work out. The phrasal verb work out is to just simply do sport or exercises. Like I can say I work out 3 times a week. And as we learned earlier, working out 3 times a week definitely helps with the aging process. But one thing, like I mentioned earlier, there are super small differences that can change a lot of things. For example, in this place, we have work and out are separated. That's why it's a phrasal verb, because it's 2 words. Work and out are separate words. But there are some ways we can go ahead and combine 2 words and make them into one, like a compound noun, such as workout, which is a session of exercise. Like, for example, if I say, he is doing a workout right now, workout in this context is no longer a phrasal verb because it is put together. There's no space between the 2 words. That's why it can function as a noun. So it's not as important when you're speaking, but when you're typing and writing things down, work space out is a verb, work out combined is a noun. And there are more small things we can change. Like we have the 2 separate words, work and out, but if I change out to on, it means work on. It means to dedicate time to something, or I dedicate time on something. Like, for example, if I need to work on my physique or my body, it means I need to dedicate time on my body to make my body better or to improve my physical appearance to people. And if I change on to off, it's a completely different phrasal verb. Like if I work off, it just means I get rid of something by exercising. Like, for example, if a person wants to say, my goal is to work off some extra fat, it means my goal for exercising or my goal for fitness in general is to get rid of some extra fat by exercising. So remember, work out, work on, work off. Completely different phrasal verbs, completely different meanings. So keep that in mind so we don't confuse them. Now, Another very popular phrasal verb through all the exercise is we can end up almost passing out. You collapse in exhaustion. You're so tired that you just fall down, just like this man in the picture. He probably had a hard exercise, and we can say he is about to pass out. He is about to collapse in complete exhaustion. But with keeping fit, it goes beyond just exercising. It also goes down to what we're eating, right? A healthy diet goes a long way. Like, for example, there are times we have to cut down on something, consume less, or eat less of something. If you want to be healthier, someone can say, I am cutting down on my carbs. I am eating or consuming less carbs. Or in another circumstance, I can say, I need to cut down on my fast food consumption. I need to eat less and less fast food. Or I can go ahead and say, I need to consume less coffee. In some cases, maybe some of us drink too much coffee. I'm sometimes guilty of that. I just need to consume less or have less of something. But if I change the word down to the word out, it means I consume no more because I'm going to cut it out of my diet. If I say I am cutting out carbs, it means I stop eating carbs 100%. But if I cut down carbs, I just eat less and less carbs. And this goes such a long way, right? Dieting, exercising, working out, it's such a hard thing. But there's a very great quote that I personally love. It says, never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway, right? Whether your goal is to stay fit or to keep fit, or you want to own a business or get married, have a house, whatever your dream is, don't give up on it because the days are going to go by anyway. So why not keep chasing your dreams? But I think I've done enough talking. Let's practice together. Up on your screen right now, you see an incomplete sentence, and I just want you all to complete it for me using one of the two options on your screen. It says, number one, I am blank my weight lifting. And we have two similar phrasal verbs, that we learned, working off and working on. So I want you all to tell me, what do you think the proper answer is? Should we say I am working off my weightlifting, or I am working on my weightlifting? Let me know in the chat. I'll give everyone maybe 5-10 seconds, and then we'll move on to the second one. And again, remember, they're very similar, but we changed the words at the end. So should we say we're working on or working off? If you went with the idea of working on, that is the correct answer. Why? Because remember, if I'm working off, I am trying to get rid of something through working out or exercise. But if I'm working on, I dedicate time to. So I am working on my weightlifting. I am dedicating time to weightlifting. Let's try one more on our screen. Please blank on cotton candy. On candy. At least eat it occasionally. So what's the answer, do we think? Please cut out on cotton candy, or please cut down on cotton candy? Let me know. What do you think the proper answer is here? Should we cut down on candy if we eat less and consume it occasionally? Or are we cutting out cotton candy if we only consume it occasionally? I'll give some time, and then we'll go ahead, give the answer, and move on to our last section as our time is almost up. If you went with letter B, you cut down, that's the correct one. Because if we say we eat it occasionally, we don't cut it out, we just consume less. So we cut down. That would be the proper answer. So let me give you all a couple quick reminders. Thank you for participating in our chat. That's amazing. I thank you all. Your guys are amazing. But just remember, how do we understand phrasal verbs? They are similar to idioms, that the meaning is quite different, but they always function in a noun, a verb, and another similar term. So remember the terms we've learned today, understanding how we can use them for describing our keeping fit journey, but also remember those small differences. If we change one word, how does it change the definition? What terms have multiple meanings? And remember the importance of having a space, because if it doesn't have a space, like work space out, it can become a noun, like work out. Now, I want to give a couple of minutes, of course, dedicated to everyone here. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask it in our chat, and I will do my best to answer your question. For those of you with no questions, please don't leave yet. I would just love some feedback of what you thought of today's topic. There's currently a poll on your screen that asks, did you find the webinar useful? Did you learn something? Did you benefit from it? If so, that's amazing, because that is our goal here. We want to make sure everyone is learning and benefiting from our webinars. And of course, we would love to provide you with more. So if these are enjoyable for you, we will make sure to keep providing topics like this for you. So would you consider joining us again in another event in the future? And we maybe have a minute or so for any possible questions. If not, we'll go ahead and wrap up as our time is almost over. But thank you all for filling out those polls. I really do appreciate your effort. And before we finish, just reminders, we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We do post on our social medias quite often. We post some learning tips, some fun facts, and just simply some updates about anything happening here at Tutlo. Until next time, everyone, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I hope that the end of April treats you well. Enjoy your long weekends, as we are coming to a bit of a long weekend. If you have any trips, stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. Until next time, take care, everyone, and stay safe. Goodbye for now.